All right, good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and we'll start with our invocation from Pastor Dan Blair.
Thanks. Let us pray. Our Lord and our God, we thank you for the beauty of this day that you've given to us, for all of the blessings of health and of life that we enjoy. This night, as those in positions of authority, those gifted leadership, meet to discuss and deliberate, we pray that you would give them wisdom and discernment, and that all that is done this night would reflect what is best and what is most just and what is most fair for all. And we bring this to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. All right, adoption of agenda. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Move that we approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? All right, item number 5. Consider approval for Rules of Decorum.
Council, after the last several meetings, I was asked to research and work with the attorney and put together some rules of decorum. We actually pulled those from a few other cities and did our research and made sure that we were statutorily found. But what we've gotten to is that public input and participation are essential to the effective municipal governance. And pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160 Alpha-81.1, the City Council of Hamlet provides opportunities for public comment at regular meetings and is authorized to adopt reasonable rules governing the conduct of such comment periods in order to ensure efficiency, safety, and decorum. These rules of decorum are not intended to regulate or limit the content or viewpoint of speech, but rather to ensure that public meetings are conducted in a civil, orderly, and efficient manner so that the city's business may be conducted without disruption. These rules apply to all persons speaking during a public comment period of regular city council meetings, all members of the public attending city council meetings, all meetings of the Hamlet City Council open to the public. The rules for these meetings that we put there forward is a time limit. Each speaker shall be allotted 3 minutes to address the council. The mayor or presiding officer may, in their discretion, increase or decrease this allotted time to manage the agenda efficiently. That there's no transfer of time. Speakers may not yield, transfer, or share unused time with another speaker. 1 appearance per meeting. Each speaker may address the council 1 time per public comment period. Matters scheduled for the public hearing. Speakers may not use public comment period to speak on matters scheduled for a public hearing during the same meeting. And sign-up requirement. Individuals wishing to speak must sign up in advance in accordance with city procedures. Speaker substitutions, again, are not permitted. Standards of conduct are civility and respect. Speakers shall be civil and respectful in language and behavior. The following are prohibited: personal attacks against council members, city staff, or members of the public, threats, intimidation, or harassment, profanity, vulgar language, obscene gestures, or disruptive behavior, audience conduct, comments, questions, applause, jeering, or disruption from the audience are not permitted. Speakers shall not address or engage members of the audience. Audience members shall not interrupt speakers of the council. And council responses, speakers should not expect immediate responses from council members. The mayor or presiding officer may request follow-up by the city manager or staff after a meeting if appropriate. Enforcement authority. Authority of the presiding officer. The mayor or presiding officer is authorized to enforce these rules of decorum to maintain order. Consequences of the violation. A speaker who violates these rules may be warned. Continued violation may result in forfeiture of their remainder time. Individuals who engage in egregious or repeated violations may be directed to leave the meeting. Removal and legal enforcement. Any person who willfully interrupts, disrupts, disturbs any official city council meeting or who refuses to comply with lawful direction of the presiding officer may be removed and may be subject to enforcement under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.17, which provides that such conduct constitutes a Class II misdemeanor. If any of the provisions in these rules is held invalid by the court or competent jurisdiction, such invalidity shall not affect the remaining provisions, which shall remain in force and in effect. An effective date, these rules of decorum shall take effect immediately upon adoption by the City Council and shall remain in effect unless amended or repealed by the council. Pending any questions?
Sounds like a wonderful presentation. And I'd like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 26-01, adopted rules of decorum.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item number 6, consider approval of updated bid for the water treatment plant.
Council, as you guys know, DEQ had come back down to us and had us amend our civil plans and add in a fourth filter to our water treatment plant. We had a special meeting about that during the summer. We got the final quote back after pushing it back out to our contractor, Dillinger. The bid amount originally was $11,989,300. That bid date was May 14th, 2025. We did get the amended bid back with the updated civil plans. That added $388,866 for a total of $12,378,378. Apologies. $12,378,166. And that is for final approval of the bid and to begin construction. There are a few things that we are still waiting on through North Carolina Division of Water Infrastructure, their finalized funds, and then the approval of SL 20-23-134 funds to address the revised project cost. Pending any questions, we've talked about this pretty in depth before, and this was something that DEQ came down and kind of threw a curveball at us, but we did what we had to do, and that is the updated quote.
Any questions or discussion?
This includes the fourth filter.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have a motion?
And that didn't the fourth filter go down on us just recently, John? That was the issue we had, or?
No, this is for our water treatment plant, the new one.
Okay.
I move that we adopt the resolution amending the original contract and award the contract to Dellinger in the amount of $12,378,166 as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item number 7. Proclamation for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has inspired this country and world with his vision and dedication to freedom and equality, and whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. became the voice of the American Civil Rights Movement in the 1950s and 1960s, with eloquent speeches and nonviolent action that resulted in landmark legislation, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and whereas Dr. King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968, at 39 years of age, and whereas the voice of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was not silenced and his faith and courage in proclaiming the message of liberty and justice for all lives continues, and whereas federal legislation signed into law on November 2nd, 1983, established a legal holiday to be celebrated on the third Monday in January, honoring the life of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was born January 15th, 1929. Now therefore I, Amy Gwynn, Mayor of the City of Hamlet, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim January 19th, 2026 as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the City of Hamlet and urge all citizens to join me in this special day of observance. All right, item number 8, consider Hamlet Housing Board appointments. Any comments? Any,
Is anyone here from the Housing Board?
I don't think so. Do we have anyone from the Housing Board here?
No, I don't think so. The Hamlet Housing Board met and they nominated Richard Tyndall and Amber Daniels to join their board pending council approval. So we're just looking for your motion and approval.
Oh, so for both?
Mhm.
Not one, okay.
So it is both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I move that we accept the recommendation of the Hamlet Housing Board in appointing Richard Tyndall and Amber Daniels.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Item number 9, consider abatement of condemned 4 unsafe structures.
Our building code official, Matt Campbell, along with admin staff, have completed the condemnation process for the following properties. And we also have some images of the properties for you to look at. But they include 426 Champlain Street, That's okay. I'll go ahead and tell you the process, and then we'll look at them. So pursuant to NC General Statute 160D 1119, a notice of unsafe building and condemnation was issued for each of these properties. The notices were served by certified mail as well as posting on the structure itself. No appeals were filed for any of these properties, and the condemnation determinations were upheld. So right now, we're just looking for, in accordance with NC General Statute 160D 1119 and local ordinances, we're looking for the recommendation that staff can proceed with authorization for demolition or abatement by the city with costs assessed against the property. So the first one is 426 Champlain Street, 315 Hendersonville, 398 High, and 316 Raleigh.
Can you go back to the high? Okay. Yes.
All right, any questions or discussion? Do I have a motion?
So move that we demolish these structures.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item number,
When would that happen, Mayor, City Manager? Any idea? I know you might not have a set date.
I'll have to work with, there's 2 processes in which we can do it. We have Public Works that, now that they have the trailer, they could go in and demo it. Or we could go in and do controlled burn. That has some provisions to it. So there's a little bit more homework that we have to do for us. And this was, just for reference too, this was the first 5 properties, one of which started fixing their property, the other 4 did not, out of about a total of 40 properties that we're starting on. So this is going to be a very long process. It's going to go on probably for years, but we are moving forward on it. And again, we have to look at this and say, is this something that we're going to be able to do a controlled burn on, or is it something that we're going to have to bring in Public Works to tear it down, and then we have to assess the cost of that as well.
And the control burn, we would do that with our people in-house.
Yes, it would be used actually as a training exercise to the fire department.
all right. Item number 10, consider sale of one city-owned parcel on Front Street, or off of Front Street.
So the city opened and followed the upset bid process for this parcel in accordance with general statutes for a 2,500 square foot city-owned property located off of Front Street. the PID specifically is listed in your packets, but the city received one bid from the process from Eric LeGrand for the amount of $2,350. And just for reference, the tax value of the property is $2,327.
All right, any questions or discussion? Then do I have a motion?
I move that we accept the bid, sell the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item number 11, review quotes for Buttercup Field fence repair.
Council, last time you directed us to get several quotes, updated quotes. We actually removed a portion of that fence, so keeping the outside of the fence, but not erecting a fence around the basketball court. And we were able to reduce that cost by about half. So what we're looking at is 3 different quotes, one for a 6-foot fence, one for a 5-foot fence, and one for a 4-foot fence. 4-foot fence is roughly $5,500. The 5-foot fence would be roughly $6,200 and some change, and then the 6-foot fence would be around $6,600. Again, that does not go around the basketball court, does it? But it does go around the outside of
The soccer
Buttercup Park, right? And I've actually pushed out, and I don't know if Doc has gotten an update from who we got the quotes from, but what I asked them is if we were to put 10% of this down now to lock in this price, could we go ahead and do that and then lock it in for this upcoming budget? So that we don't have to do any more budget amendments. So we're waiting on that. But at the end of the day, I think that we're at a good place now to where if we were to accept one of these with the 4, 5, or 6-foot fence, that we could not only lock it in for the upcoming fiscal year budget, but get that done this summer.
Is there any fence at all left down there? I thought there was
Is.
fence on the right-hand side still there.
There is.
There
What
is.
what is the height of that fence?
I believe that, is Doc in here? I think it's 6 foot.
Okay. So it's already partially fenced with 6-foot fencing.
Yeah, and also with this one, Doc, if you could come up.
Three-quarter of the property is fenced. The backside to the church
church,
is
right.
missing. So we was thinking about coming, the 6-foot dropping down to 4-foot, running it around and putting 3 openings to save the money, so the kids can go play in the summertime instead of locking them out and trying to climb over the fence. And I think that's what the problem is. They were climbing over the 6-foot fence. It was collapsing.
So you mean put gates in the section
The
over
new
there?
section will have 3 open, 4-foot openings in it,
Okay.
yeah. And there won't be no gates to lock it. There'll be access to
They
the
can
play.
just go through?
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct.
Because that's mostly smaller kids that play down there, correct? And it,
Well,
for soccer,
oh, you talking about just soccer?
I think it's soccer. They play, that's what they play mostly, or was going to.
What
or-
I, back in the day when my son was there, it was the smaller kids up to 12, 14. But there is a summer league that plays there, or older adults during, like, Monday, whatever. I seen them down there playing too, so.
And just let everybody know, I have talked to a couple residents and the superintendent bishop, the church down there as well. So I plan to have some meetings. I don't know what it'll take, but just to have meetings with the residents and the parents and just talk about the importance of maintaining. And because we have replaced it several times, and I think it's I want it done, but I definitely want to talk. Have some upfront conversations, just talking about the importance of maintaining it. And
I
I'll
think
keep you
that'd be
guys
fine.
posted when we plan to have those meetings.
Do that, because that fence was put up years ago for the safety of the children playing on that playground. It's a beautiful place, and it's used a lot. I go by there and people are playing basketball, they go out there playing football. So the fence needs to be there for vehicular safety, keep people from running into it.
But you don't need a motion.
I don't need a motion at this point. I think that we have it in the budget. I have it in my authority to put the deposit down and then add it into this upcoming FY's budget. And it's a low-cost, high-impact project.
But you didn't hear back from them with the 10% situation?
I'm sorry?
Did you hear back from them yet on the 10%?
Doc, did you hear back from them on 10%?
I did talk with the contractor, and he didn't want the 10%, but he will hold the price
Okay.
to our budget because the metal rising and all that stuff. But he said, just give him 2 weeks before we do the job, and he'd be there to do the work.
All right. Item number 12, consider approval of system development fees.
So 2 months ago, we spoke about this, and now we're requesting action on this to adopt the FY 2026 water and sewer development fees. This is a public hearing as cost justified, legally compliant fees prepared by Raftillus Financial Consultants following completion of the statutory 45-day public notice period during which no public comment was received. We still do have a public comment during this meeting if they're already on it. The background on this is the city of Hamlet retained Raftillus as a consultant to prepare our system development fee study in accordance with the general statutes in 162 Alpha Article 8. The final draft study is dated October 23, 2025. That study established the maximum cost justified fees using methodologies explicitly authorized by the statute for our water system, which is a capacity buy-in method, and our sewer system, which is a marginal incremental cost method due to the mandated wastewater treatment expansion. On November 12th, Council authorized the publication of that 45-day public notice and intent to adopt the system development fees, and that notice period has concluded and no written or verbal comments were submitted. The work that was done fully complies with statutory requirements, including the documentation of data sources, assumptions, and methodologies, use of industry-accepted engineering financial practices, identification of eligible infrastructure assets, proper exclusion of non-allowable assets, required debt and grant funding credits, a planned horizon between 5 and 20 years, and calculation of ERUs consistent with the city's engineering standards. The city has complied with all the procedural requirements, including the public availability of draft study, publication of the 45-day notice, opportunity for public inspection and comment, and consideration of public input. You all have seen those fees before. If you want me to, and I think you have them in front of them, so unless you want me to go back through those. And then for the impact on these, there are no impact to existing customers, which makes this really important. And these fees only apply to new development, and the revenues are legally restricted to water and sewer capacity related capital improvements, and it supports long-term infrastructure sustainability and growth without burdening our current ratepayers for water and sewer. And staff's recommendation is adoption of the ordinance establishing the FY26 water and sewer system development fees as presented. Again, this is a public hearing, and staff's completed its portion pending any questions.
But I don't need to open a public hearing. I do? Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Do we have anyone who wants to speak? Can I close it now? I'll close it now then. Any comments or questions from council?
Nope.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item number 13, the Raleigh Street property.
We do have a property that Domino's is interested in buying. That current property has 4,250 of code enforcement fines. In my authority, I'm authorized to waive up to 1,000, and then once it gets above 1,000, there was a policy put in place back in the Bayless area that said that it would have to go back in front of council for approval. So with this, these are strictly code enforcement fines due to not maintaining the property. It's been ongoing for a very long time. Domino's has come in and said, hey, we want to buy this, but if we buy it and we repair everything and build a nice Domino's and maintain the property, will you waive these fees? And so I'm bringing it in front of council for you all to speak on it and decide if it's something that you guys want to do or not.
That for Domino's?
Yeah.
Want to put us, well, that would bring business in and it bring in jobs.
Absolutely.
Employment. And interesting. Sounds like a good idea for them. I'd like to see them come in.
Any other discussion, questions?
Would these fees be collected out of the sales price of the property?
No, we would be waiving the fees if you all approve it.
If we didn't?
If we didn't, then I don't know if the sale of the property would go through and the fees would stay in place. The fees have been there for a while. At one point, and TC could probably speak on this better, but we could bring it back into council and say, hey, do we want to take these people to court to collect the fines?
No, that wouldn't, I meant, would they be treated like a lien and the proceeds of the sale would be docked for the amount of the fees and the seller would absorb the fee cost, not the buyer, right?
Well, the short answer is yes, probably. I mean, what happens is the sale, you'd take it subject to the lien, the new buyer, and then somebody needs to deal with it. And sometimes it's the seller takes it off the purchase price. Sometimes the buyer just pays extra. But the reason, of course, the buyer doesn't want to take it with that is it acts like a lien and it creates a cloud on their title. And, from my view, civil penalties are never intended to be punitive. They're there to help resolve situations. So when staff brought this to me, I thought it was a good idea. I just want to flag for council, it's condition number 3. It says conditional nature of waiver. The waiver of code enforcement fees authorized herein is expressly conditioned upon commencement of construction on the property on or before July 1, 2026, as set forth in the agreement. So the idea is if you guys don't do anything with it, then the fees come back.
To the purchaser at that point, right?
That's right. I mean, whoever owns it at that point would then have that liability of being a cloud on their title.
Well, it seemed to me the property sitting there vacant, had been there for some time, nothing gone. A big company like Domino's wants to buy it. I think we ought to approve it and get it done because and waive the fees because in the long run, we're going to get that money back through taxes anyway. So what's the problem?
Yep.
Okay, motion in order?
Yes.
I make a motion that we approved the waiving of the fees and continue with the process of getting it done.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Item number 14, City Manager's Report.
So, as you guys are aware, we've been through a little hostility in the last several months, and this has come to a point where I believe it needs to be discussed in open session. I want to be clear too, this is nothing against council. This is not a resignation from me. This is not to pin a wedge between council and I, but at this point, we've discussed this in closed session multiple times, and I've talked to our city attorney, and he agreed that it is the time to bring this so that our larger population or community knows what I have been going through from several people in our community. So the purpose of the staff report is to formally notify the city council in open session of ongoing targeted harassment, stalking, cyber stalking, doxing, intimidation, defamation, and safety concerns directed at myself arising from actions taken in my official capacity and to request clear council direction and institutional action to address safety and legal risk implications. So over an extended period of time, I've raised concerns regarding retaliatory and harassing conduct by individuals dissatisfied with lawful municipal actions. These concerns have been presented multiple times in closed session, including discussions involving legal counsel. Despite those efforts, the conduct has continued and escalated, extending beyond public forums into my own private residential neighborhood, including repeated unauthorized activity directed at me personally. Given the escalation and the absence of effective mitigation, continued reliance solely on closed session discussion is no longer sufficient. The matter now requires open session acknowledgement and council direction. So the current conditions and impact, the cumulative effect of the documented conduct has resulted in personal safety concerns of my own residents, operational and leadership strain affecting executive effectiveness and continuity, and increased legal exposure to the city due to retaliation against my leadership. Continuing, uncertainty regarding the city's institutional posture and protective measures. City manager has continued to perform all duties professionally and without interruption. However, the circumstances now warrant formal council action and direction. Documented threatening and violent content video evidence. As part of a broader pattern of retaliatory conduct, the city manager documents the existence of publicly distributed videos content created by Escamillo Latimer depicting simulated acts of violence against appointed and elected public officials, including portrayals involving explosions, physical assaults, and other acts suggesting serious bodily harm. Although presented in an animated and stylized format, the content uses real likeness and identifiable roles of public officials, depicts conduct commonly understood as political violence, targets officials based on their official actions, contributes to an atmosphere of intimidation and escalation, and is reasonably perceived as threatening when viewed in the context of ongoing harassment. This concern is not related to viewpoint or political disagreement, but to the depiction and normalization of violence against public officials, particularly when combined with repeated in-person harassment and trespass, malicious prosecution, fabricated legal process, and defamation. The city manager documents that no contact order was sought based on fabricated allegations arising from the city manager's lawful performance of official duties, that the action was subsequently dismissed, confirming the absence of factual or legal merit. The initiation of unfounded legal process under these circumstances constitutes retaliatory misuse of the justice system and materially escalates personal safety and institutional risk. Repeated fabricated sexual harassment allegations. City manager has been subjected to repeated allegations of sexual harassment that have been consistently unsubstantiated and determined to lack factual basis. Despite this, the same allegations continue to be recycled and amplified through social media and other informal channels by the individuals seeking to intimidate, impeach, and discredit me as the city manager. The repetition of known false allegation constitutes retaliatory harassment and defamation, undermines executive authority and governance, and increases the risk of public incitement and personnel harm. Defamation through false stolen valor claims. The city manager further documents defamatory claims alleging stolen valor, which are demonstratively false. Such accusations are widely recognized as inherently dangerous, exposing myself to heightened risk of harassment, confrontation, and violence, particularly when disseminated online. Widely circulated defamatory communications to the newspapers. In addition, I document defamatory written statements disseminated to multiple newspapers by legal counsel for former Chief of Police Dennis Brown and other platforms by Escamillo Latimer and Sean Patrick Smith, which are widely circulated beyond social media platforms. These communications contain false and misleading assertions regarding me, were distributed to third-party media outlets, significantly amplifying reach, contributed to public mischaracterization of me and my service and actions, further escalated personal safety concerns by legitimizing further false narratives through traditional media channels. The concern is not legitimate legal advocacy, but public dissemination of defamatory material, which when combined with other documented conduct substantially increases the risk of harm of me and my family. Open session attacks and documented threats. The city manager further documents repeated personal attacks made during open council sessions by Psalm Patrick Smith entered into the public record. Witnessed and documented communicating threats by Don Norton, emailed threats received from Parkton Chief of Police Hudson Chitwood, and escalated involving reflecting escalation involving a sworn law enforcement official. Taken together, these actions demonstrate a pattern of escalation and material heightened concerns regarding my safety and my family's safety. I also note that following the filing of civil litigation against these personnel, asserting claims of civil conspiracy, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, there has been a measurable escalation of retaliatory conduct. This escalation has included increased harassment, stalking behavior, defamatory statements, threatening communications, and coordinated amplification through public meetings, online platforms, and third-party channels. This reference is provided solely to document timing and escalation, not to litigate the merits of any pending matter. The post-filing escalation following protected legal activity is consistent with retaliatory conduct, again, materially heightening executive safety concerns for me and my family, and increases institutional risk if left unaddressed. The city manager serves as the chief executive officer and acts solely under the authority granted by statute, ordinance, and council policy. When harassment, intimidation, defamation, and misuse of the legal process occurs as a result of lawful official actions, the issue becomes an institutional governance matter, not a personnel dispute. Further, to address known and documented concerns, it may expose the city. These allegations are failing to provide a safe work environment and are retaliatory against my employees as well, and increase operational leadership and reputational and financial risk. I say all this only so that our public understands not only what I've gone through, but the harassment and defamation of my employees as well, and needs to stop. I have taken legal action personally to where I'm suing these individuals, and I will not stop, and I will take every legal action lawfully, and I will include anybody else who continues to do it in it. Pending any questions.
Any questions from council? Nope. TC, do you have anything to add?
Not this time, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Then, item number 15, comments from attendees. So I have two requests for comments. Mr. Latimer, would you like to? All right, Dr. Daniel? Well, y'all don't fight about it. Come on. Somebody come up.
Good evening. Well, my name is Esco Latimer, and I concur with the city manager in regards to the heightened tension of the recent allegations. I completely understand the fear for your family. In April of 2025, I've had incidents with John all the way from April all the way to December 20th. So the sheriff department and the police department are not very uncommon with my address, mostly due to your city manager. On April 25, John called me about the decorative stones in my office. I feel like that is below the pay grade for him to do that. That's a facilities job, which was already taken care of. Also in April, I got a call about the pop-up market. I had already spoken about Michelle Pressler about that. He called me again about the pop-up market, not setting it up for my campaign. And June 14th, then there was the Hamlet senior citizen that I assaulted these Hamlet senior citizens, which, if you see the video on my Facebook page that he's talking about, you can see there was no assault. Then on August the 13th, I get another communication from him that I was speaking to the water department, which is what I was doing, talking about the brown water that we had. On September the 10th, I get a notice of restriction. On November the 3rd, I get another allegations of I've harassed the ARP, at which point now I am having to get counsel and pay for an attorney to defend myself against false affidavits that were sent to the court in order to get the court case against me, to only get into court and, oh, we just made some mistakes. We didn't mean to say that. And then on December 20th, I get another officer coming to my home right that same week after the court case that had been dismissed against me from the city, AKA, yep, I won that one, and a 1-year trespass ban. All I've done for the city is try to help the city improve. I cleaned up 74. That was $4,000 of my own money. The senior citizen building, I helped them raise $2,000 so the senior citizen didn't have to pay for their extracurricular activities, the bus trips, the fees. Everything I've done for the city has been good. Everything. But all I've been doing is getting attacked. So if you're worried about someone attacking you, John, stop attacking me. Lastly, the incidents about my family, about my background, about my bankruptcy, about my divorce, that's uncalled for. Yes, I have the email. Yes, you said it. And lastly, when you bring that up about my divorce, you bring my child into it. And that's not okay. So no one knows, but my daughter tried to commit suicide last year, so I was going through that campaign. And as Abby was talking about that whole incident, I didn't want my daughter to revert back to that. So thank you for that, Abby.
Your daughter wasn't involved in it.
Yes, she was, ma'am. Thank you.
Any comment?
Dr. Daniel?
Good afternoon. It wasn't written on my sheet, but I do want to say thank y'all for appointing me to the Housing Authority Board. I appreciate that. I look forward to serving the citizens in that capacity. I just want to mention that Riverside Bakery is doing their grand opening this Saturday, and I am doing the All Aboard Gaming Club. So I invite everybody out. You can bring your kids, you can bring your elderly family members, young people. Anyone is welcome to come. It's a free event. We do bingo, Scrabble, a bunch of different fun games. So just come out, have a good time. We meet every other Saturday from 12:30 to 2 o'clock. And then also Saturday, Girl Scout cookies start, so make sure you support your local Girl Scouts. If you see them out, it's going to be very cold, very windy, and they're going to be working very hard to try to go back to camp this summer. So if you need cookies, you can contact me, but if you see the cute little girls, please make sure you support them. And that's all I have. Thank y'all for also revisiting the Buttercup Field and looking at the fence. I appreciate that, so thank y'all.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you.
All right. City Manager's report.
I think I've said enough.
Okay. Comments of council. Mr. Martin.
I don't have anything to report or discuss at this point.
Okay. Mr. Sellers.
I'd just like to thank all the attendees for coming, and I wish everyone a healthy and safe new year. That concludes it.
Mr. Close.
That grand opening is at 10 o'clock, correct, John?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, at 10 o'clock down at the bakery, so everybody that can, come down there and let's help support them. The fence down at Buttercup, I should have said something. I think we need to think about the height, and the only reason I said that was if we do 4 foot and they're playing soccer, it's a possibility they could kick it over the fence. And that's the only thing I was thinking about.
I think we're good with matching the current height, considering there's
Right.
going to be the openings in it.
Yes,
And the price difference is not that much, so.
Yeah. well, that's what I was thinking. We went from 12,000 to 6,000, I think's what it was, so.
Yeah, that was just by removing the fence that was around the basketball court.
Right, and I agree with that. I don't have a bit of problem with that. So I think the field is good, but just whatever we decide to do on that. And I had a thought I should have asked on our sign-up sheets. When somebody signs up to speak, I think we had an issue where somebody signed somebody else up. So if we didn't put it in there, and I might have missed it, we need to make sure that the individual who's going to speak has to sign up. And I'm not sure if that was in there or not. Right. Yeah, because I mean, you know, so-and-so might be coming and they're going to sign up for them, but they can sign up when they get here. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and what I'd say about that, Mr. Cluis, is I think generally whoever can sign up for whoever, and it's just if you're not here when your name is called, then you don't get to speak. So if it becomes an issue with people sort of signing up other folks, maybe it's something to address, but otherwise, I think we should leave the policy as it is and see, just let it be in place for a few months.
That's all I have. Thank you, everybody, for working. Hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas, a new year, and I'm looking forward to a new year. Thank you.
Mr. Stewart.
Well, again, Happy New Year to everyone. Our kids are back in school, so I always encourage us to pray for our kids in school and pray for our educators as much as possible. Mental health is real, and so much can happen, and we definitely want to do that. Thank you to our city employees. I want to thank the mayor for honoring the life and legacy of Dr. King. And I want to invite each and every one of you, all of you out. We have a series of events this weekend. Friday night, we have a MLK Gala. If you would like to attend, please see me for tickets for that. We have a prayer breakfast Saturday morning at the Richmond Memorial Hospital. We have an ecumenical service Sunday at 5 p.m. at the Place of Grace. And then finalizing a luncheon, MLK luncheon, honoring Dr. King on Monday at 12 noon at Wayman Chapel here in Hamlet. So please reach out to me if you want to attend and need tickets for any of those events. But thank you so much to all the citizens of Hamlet. Always a pleasure to serve the city of Hamlet. Thank you.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem.
I want to reinforce Tony's invitation and Ms. Daniels' comments about the Riverside Bakery grand opening on Saturday at 10 a.m. She was telling me yesterday that she's already planning her menu, so there will be food, and food always brings people. So I encourage you to come and support this new business on Main Street and be a part of making Hamlet grow and improve. Also, Happy New Year. And bringing the new year brings us into the new budget cycle. We'll soon be starting our budget meetings, so if there are concerns and things that you think need to be talked about, discussed, or needs from groups in the community, you need to make these known. Because this is, once the budget is gone, the die is cast. And that will happen hopefully by May. But we begin these meetings, February, March? Yeah, so I just want to remind everybody to if you've got some civic projects that you're interested in, this is the time to possibly get something to make them happen.
All right. Your turn. I just want to make residents aware, those who are seniors 55 and older or low-income residents, they can get help filing their tax returns at the Hamlet Senior Center. That starts around January 22nd, and if you do need to make an appointment, so if you would call the Senior Center, it's 910-582-7985, and find out all the details and make your appointment. And that's all I have. So we need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh.
All right. And if anybody who has come in and not signed in at the back on that table, would you please do that as you head out?